Hello, Leo. Welcome back. I need to talk to you about something that has been showing up in the cards. It is pretty intense. This reading is specifically about someone in your life who's trying to shift blame onto you for their own actions. And the energy here is really clear. Let me just get right into what the universe is showing us today, Dot. So I just pulled the cards for you, and wow, the story here is so specific. We are looking at a situation where someone is pointing fingers at you, trying to make you responsible for their choices and their behavior. The cards are basically laying out this entire dynamic, and I have to say, the clarity is almost uncomfortable because it hits so close to home for a lot of you. Let me start by setting the scene with what came out first. The Two of Cups appeared, and at first I thought, okay, maybe this is about a harmonious connection, right? But as I kept pulling cards, I realized this Two of Cups is actually showing me the foundation of what this relationship was supposed to be or what it once was. This card represents a partnership, a connection where two people came together with mutual respect and genuine feelings. There was reciprocity here, Leo. You were not imagining the bond you had with this person. Whether this is romantic, friendship, or even a professional connection, the Two of Cups confirms that at some point this was real and balanced. But here's where it gets interesting. The Two of Cups is showing me that you invested emotionally in this connection. You showed up authentically. You gave your energy, your time, maybe even your vulnerability. This person knew what you brought to the table. They experienced your loyalty, your warmth, your generosity of spirit. The Two of Cups tells me that you were not playing games. You were genuinely trying to build something meaningful with this person, and they responded to that initially. There was a moment when both of you were on the same page, when the energy flowed naturally between you. What I'm picking up, though, is that this card is also revealing something about how this person is now using that history against you. Because you were so open, because you did care so deeply, they now have ammunition. They know exactly which buttons to push. They know what mattered to you in this connection, and now they're twisting that narrative. The Two of Cups here is almost being weaponized in their story. They are saying things like, well, you were the one who wanted this so much, or you pushed for this relationship, or you made me feel like I had to do certain things. They're taking the very foundation of what was mutual and real, and rewriting it to make themselves the victim and you the villain. I'm also seeing with the Two of Cups that this person is possibly bringing up old memories, old moments of intimacy or closeness, and reframing them to suit their current narrative. They might be saying, remember when you said this, or remember when you did that, and using those moments out of context to justify their behavior now. It is like they are cherry-picking from the history you shared together to build a case against you. The audacity of it, honestly. Because the Two of Cups does not lie, Leo. This card knows that what you two shared was mutual, that both people willingly participated, that there was genuine connection. So for them to now pretend otherwise is just manipulation at its finest. The Six of Cups comes out next, and okay, this card always brings up the past. Nostalgia, childhood patterns, old connections. When I see the Six of Cups in this context of blame and deflection, it is telling me that this person is literally stuck in the past in a very specific way. They are bringing up old wounds, old situations, maybe even things from way back when, and using those as justification for their current bad behavior. The Six of Cups can represent innocence and sweet memories, but in this reading, it is showing me someone who is hiding behind their past to avoid accountability. Here is what the Six of Cups is revealing about their tactics. This person might be saying things like, well, because of what happened to me before, I had no choice but to act this way with you. Or, you reminded me of someone who hurt me, so that is why I did what I did. They are pulling out their trauma, their history, their past hurts, and using them as a shield. And look, everyone has a past. Everyone has been hurt. Everyone carries wounds. But the Six of Cups here is showing me someone who is weaponizing their past experiences to manipulate you into feeling guilty. What really stands out to me with this Six of Cups is the theme of regression. This person is not taking mature adult responsibility for their actions. Instead, they are reverting to a childlike state of blame, where nothing is ever their fault because of XYZ that happened to them years ago. The Six of Cups can show someone who is perpetually playing the victim, who never grew past certain emotional wounds, and who expects everyone around them to accommodate their pain while they continue to hurt others. I am also picking up that this person might be comparing you to people from their past in unfair ways. The Six of Cups deals with memories and past relationships, so they could be projecting onto you things that have nothing to do with you. They might be saying, you are just like my ex, or you are doing the same thing that person did to me, when in reality, you are your own person dealing with them in the present moment. This projection is a way for them to justify treating you poorly. If they can convince themselves and you that you are just like whoever hurt them before, then in their mind, they have permission to hurt you back. There is also something here about unfinished business. The Six of Cups suggests that this person has not healed from their past, and instead of doing that inner work, they are dragging their unresolved issues into their relationship with you. They are making you responsible for healing them or for paying the price for what someone else did to them. That is not fair, and that is not how healthy relationships work. You cannot be blamed for someone else's failure to process their own history. Now the Five of Swords comes through in Leo. This is where the reading gets really direct about the conflict and the blame game. The Five of Swords is literally the card of arguments, of winning at all costs, of someone who will fight dirty to come out on top. When I see this card in a reading about blame, it confirms that this person is not interested in truth or resolution. They are interested in winning the narrative. They want to be right, they want you to be wrong, and they will use whatever tactics necessary to achieve that. The Five of Swords shows me someone who is engaging in mental warfare with you. They are twisting your words, bringing up things out of context, possibly even lying or exaggerating to make their case stronger. This is someone who has decided that you are the enemy and that defeating you in this argument is more important than anything else, including the truth or the relationship itself. The Five of Swords does not care about fairness. It cares about victory. What I'm really picking up with this Five of Swords is that this person feels like they have already lost something, and now they are lashing out. Maybe they lost control of the situation. Maybe they lost your trust. Maybe they lost the upper hand in the dynamic. Whatever it is, they feel defeated on some level, and their response is to take you down with them. If they cannot win at the relationship, they will win at the blame game. If they cannot have you see them as perfect, they will make sure you see yourself as the problem. The Five of Swords also reveals that this person is probably spreading their version of events to others. This card often shows up when someone is fighting to control the narrative publicly, not just privately. They might be talking to mutual friends, posting on social media, telling family members their side of the story, all in an effort to get people on their side against you. They need witnesses to their victimhood. They need validation that you are the bad guy, and they're the innocent party who is wrong. Here is the thing that the Five of Swords wants you to understand. Leo, you cannot win a game where someone has already decided the rules are that you lose. This person has made up their mind. They have constructed their version of reality where everything is your fault, and no amount of explaining or defending yourself is going to change that. The Five of Swords is actually advising you to step back from the battle. Sometimes the only way to win is to refuse to play. When you engage with someone who is fighting dirty, you end up getting dirty yourself, and that is exactly what they want. They want to drag you down to their level. I'm also seeing that this conflict has cost you something. The Five of Swords can indicate a Pyrrhic victory for them, meaning even if they convince themselves and others that they were right, they have lost something valuable in the process. They have lost your respect, your presence, the genuine connection you offered. But they are so focused on being right that they cannot even see what they have thrown away. The Two of Wands appears now, and this is really interesting because the Two of Wands is about future planning. Looking ahead, making decisions about which direction to take. In the context of someone blaming you, this card is revealing their internal state. Despite all their finger pointing and accusations, this person is actually deeply uncertain about their own path forward. The Two of Wands shows someone standing at a crossroads, knowing they need to make a choice. But the appearance of this card tells me they are trying to make you responsible for their confusion. Here is what I mean. The Two of Wands represents a moment of contemplation where someone has to choose between two different paths or approaches. This person is facing their own decisions about their life, their future, their next steps. But instead of owning those decisions, they are blaming you for the position they find themselves in. They are essentially saying, I'm stuck here because of what you did, or I cannot move forward because of you, when in reality, the Two of Wands confirms that they have always had agency. They have always had choices. They are just uncomfortable with the fact that their choices led them to where they are now. The Two of Wands is also showing me that this person had options throughout this entire situation. They were not backed into a corner. They were not forced to do whatever it is they did. They made calculated decisions, and the Two of Wands represents that moment of calculation. They looked at their options, they weighed the pros and cons, and they chose their course of action. But now that there are consequences, now that things did not work out the way they hoped, they want to rewrite history and pretend they had no choice. They want to act like you somehow controlled their decisions or forced their hand. What I am really picking up is that the Two of Wands represents their ambition or their desire for something specific. And they are blaming you for the fact that they did not get it or that pursuing it cost them something. Maybe they wanted freedom, maybe they wanted someone else. Maybe they wanted a different life situation and they made choices based on that desire. The Two of Wands shows someone who is looking at the bigger picture of what they wanted for themselves. But now they are turning around and making it seem like you are the reason they had to make difficult choices, when really, they were just prioritizing their own wants over everything else, including you. There is also an element here of this person still being very much in planning mode. The Two of Wands suggests they are still looking ahead, still trying to figure out their next move. And part of their strategy is to make sure that you are cast as the obstacle or the problem in their story. By blaming you, they are trying to clear the path for whatever they want to do next. They need you to be the villain so they can be the hero of their own narrative moving forward. The High Priestess comes through in Leo. This card is really significant because it represents hidden truths, intuition, and what lies beneath the surface. In this reading about blame and deflection, the High Priestess is confirming what you probably already know deep down. This person is hiding something. There are things they are not telling you, motivations they are not revealing, truths they are deliberately keeping in the shadows. The High Priestess always knows what is really going on, even when people try to obscure it. What I'm picking up is that while this person is busy blaming you and creating all this noise and drama, the High Priestess is sitting quietly with the actual truth. And that truth is very different from the story this person is telling. The High Priestess reveals that their accusations are a smokescreen. They are loud about blaming you because they are trying to hide what they actually did, what they actually wanted, what they actually felt. The more they point the finger at you, the less attention is on their own behavior and their own secrets. The High Priestess is also your card here, Leo. She's reminding you that you know the truth. You might be doubting yourself because of how convincing this person is being, because of how much they are committing to their false narrative. But the High Priestess says your intuition has been speaking to you all along. You have felt when things were off. You have sensed the deception. You have known on some level that their version of events does not match reality. The High Priestess is telling you to trust that inner knowing. Your gut has been right about this person. There is something here about the High Priestess representing the things this person does not want to come to light. She guards secrets and hidden knowledge, and in this context, she is showing me that time will reveal the truth. What is in the dark always comes to light eventually. This person can blame you all they want right now. They can construct their narrative and get people to believe it. But the High Priestess promises that the truth has a way of emerging. People will see through the facade. The inconsistencies in their story will become apparent. What they are hiding will surface. I am also getting that the High Priestess is advising you to stay silent about certain things right now. You do not need to defend yourself to everyone. You do not need to explain your side to every person who has heard their version. The High Priestess keeps her own counsel. She knows that some truths are not for public consumption, that some battles are not worth fighting in the open. By maintaining your dignity and your mystery, by not engaging in the mudslinging, you actually preserve your power. Let them talk. Let them blame. The people who matter will see the truth. The High Priestess always does. The Empress comes through as the final card, and this is really beautiful because the Empress is about abundance, nurturing, creation, and self-worth. After all these cards about conflict and blame and hidden agendas, the Empress arrives as your power card, Leo. She's reminding you of who you are beneath all this mess. The Empress does not get caught up in other people's drama. She does not waste her energy trying to convince people of her value. She simply knows her worth and lives accordingly. What the Empress is telling you is that while this person is busy blaming you for their choices, you have the ability to create a completely new reality for yourself. The Empress is a creator. She brings things into being. She nurtures what matters. She focuses her abundant energy on growth, beauty, and building something meaningful. This card is redirecting your attention away from defending yourself and toward creating the life you actually want. The blame game is a distraction from your creative power. The Empress also represents self-love and self-care. After dealing with someone who has tried to make you responsible for their dysfunction, you need to come back to yourself. You need to nurture yourself the way the Empress nurtures her garden. This means setting boundaries, saying no to toxic dynamics, refusing to carry other people's shame or guilt. The Empress knows that she cannot bloom if she is constantly being poisoned by someone else's projection. She protects her energy fiercely because she knows that her well-being is the foundation of everything else. I am really feeling with the Empress that there is something powerful waiting for you on the other side of this situation. Once you fully release the need to be understood by this person, once you stop trying to get them to see the truth, once you step out of their blame cycle completely, you will find yourself in a space of incredible abundance. The Empress promises that when you redirect all the energy you've been using to defend yourself and put it toward building your own happiness, amazing things will grow. The Empress is also a card of natural consequences. Just as she represents natural growth and fertility, she also represents the natural order of things. This person will face the consequences of their actions eventually. They will reap what they have sown. You do not need to make that happen. The Empress trusts in the cycles of nature and karma in the way that life has its own justice. Your job is not to punish them or prove them wrong. Your job is to flourish in your own garden while they deal with the weeds they have planted in theirs. So Leo, let me bring this all together for you. The cards are showing a very clear picture. Someone in your life is engaged in serious blame shifting about their own choices and behavior. The Two of Cups reveals that your connection was real and mutual, which makes their current narrative of you being the problem even more manipulative. The Six of Cups shows them hiding behind past wounds and refusing to take adult responsibility. The Five of Swords confirms they are fighting dirty and more interested in winning than in truth. The Two of Wands reveals they had choices all along despite their claims otherwise. The High Priestess holds the actual truth and promises it will surface while advising you to trust your intuition. And the Empress calls you back to your power, reminding you that your worth is not up for debate and your future is yours to create. This person can blame you all they want. They can tell their story. They can convince others. They can sleep at night believing their own lies. But you know what really happened? The universe knows. The cards know. And ultimately, that is what matters. You are not responsible for someone else's inability to own their choices. You are not required to carry guilt that does not belong to you. Your job now is to release this dynamic, protect your energy, and focus on nurturing yourself and your future. The Empress is waiting for you in that space of abundance, Leo. It is time to walk away from the blame game and into your power. That is what I'm seeing for you today. I hope this brought some clarity to whatever situation you are dealing with. Drop a comment if this resonated with you because I have a feeling a lot of you are going through something similar right now. Take care of yourself. I will see you in the next one.